Everything's loaded in. Just waiting. Just waiting to make sure everything's loaded in, because if it's not loaded in, that's going to be annoying. So we just want to make sure. Yes, Renee. Yes, Renee. We just want to make sure that everything's loaded in. Look at it. Oh, we got Anna mucking with the microphone. That is okay. We are going to get started and pet Renee, little tiny Renee, because she's a little good one. She's a very good one. We really like her. So, welcome back to Andersen Acres. This is little tiny Renee. She is 6 weeks old. She's a very tiny little calico kitten. If you're new here, nice to meet you. My name is Leanne, and I run a small hobby farm called Andersen Acres. We have all kinds of critters. We have all kinds of critters, which is fantastic. So, let's get started. I'm glad everyone's here with us, and there's people who are going to have to watch it on the VOD. I know I have tried to reschedule it later in the day because I've been asked. I can't. Okay, I'll just get that out of the way. I can't. It's scheduled for the time it's scheduled, simply because I don't have much of a choice. I can't do it later in the day. But this is the third Friday of every month, and that means we are highlighting an animal that has a place on the farm. And today we are doing barn cats. This is Renee, little tiny dilute calico, one of our kittens who's not quite old enough to go to a new home. Kittens are going to rotate in and out. So today we're talking about the barn cats. Barn cats don't always get the glory. Okay, she's going to go back in a minute, and we're going to see a different barn cat. You can come, Rowan. We can switch. But we're going to see a different barn cat, and they don't get all the glory because they're just cats, right? They're just kitties. We're going to switch out. Oh, here comes my Peaches. Renee wants to go back. Peaches wants to come visit. This is my Peaches. She is a sweetheart. Now, cats don't get the glory because they're not all flashy and fluffy the way some of the other animals are, and cats are kind of common, but they are absolutely essential to the day-to-day life of a functioning hobby farm. Today, we're going to talk about why they matter, how we care for them, does breed even matter, fun facts, and yes, I'm going to answer a whole bunch of questions too, both about barn cats, the other animals, and other various hobby farm or homesteading questions. I have the questions that people submitted in advance who can't be here on my e-reader. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. I will try to see it and try to get to it. If I forget your question, I do go through the questions in the chat and in the comments and in my Facebook messages and in the comments of other YouTube videos. I go through all of those and I pick out the questions. That's how I have the questions in front of me. So, don't worry, we're going to go through kittens. This is Peaches. Not sure if I'm keeping her or not. She's freaking adorable, and I'm not sure if I'm keeping her. And she is nearly 8 weeks old. Ready to go to a new home, but I don't know if I want to keep her or not. We'll have to see. We're waiting to see. So let's start with the biggest question about barn cats. Why barn cats? If you've never lived on a farm or homestead, you might not realize just how destructive rodents can be. Your rats, your mice, your squirrels. They get into everything. The grain and the feed bags and the stored equipment, the insulation, the wiring on your yard tractor. Okay? They get into absolutely everything. And they chew and they contaminate and they spread disease. They get into your hay and they completely wreck it. We're going to switch out for Des, who is another 6-week-old kitten. They absolutely wreck your stuff. Okay? And unlike a mousetrap or poison, barn cats are a natural, continuous, and mobile solution. So you can't move the traps. The traps are where you put them. And the problem with poison is if cats eat the poison and the cats eat the rats or the chickens eat the mice, you've now poisoned your own flock. So we do not use poison of any kind because we don't want to poison our flock. So we need the barn cats. Here at Andersen Acres, our barn cats are literally the pest management system, or at least a big part of it. They're hunters, guardians of the feed room, and believe it or not, sometimes even peacemakers. They weave through the goats, perch near the horse, and lounge outside the duck enclosure like they own the place. They take over the barn, the garage, they take over the shed and the rabbit pens. They are kings and queens of their castle. So they kind of run everything, right, Des? Sorry. They kind of run everything. And this isn't a new idea. This is not something hobby farmers started doing last year. Humans and cats have had this working relationship for thousands of years. We provide the food, the water, the shelter, the snuggles. They take care of the little critters we don't want multiplying in the shadows. Okay? They are essential. They are so important to the working of a functional hobby farm. Now, I know there's a little controversy, so let's get to it. Let's talk about the why people get upset. Okay, let's talk about the why. And here's one of our adults. This is DK. This is our big old tomcat. He is no youngster, okay? He's not a kitten. He's not brand new. I'm muting the mic with the cat. But there's DK. He wants to leave. But so I was muting the mic with the cat. But that was DK. And yes, DK, I'm sorry. I know, you're busy. DK is our big old tomcat, our outdoor tom. He is fantastic, a great hunter, and now he's just going to lay down there and glare at me because apparently I broke all the DK rules by snuggling him. So now he's all mad about it. But we have cats of different ages. He is older, so at some point, a younger gentleman will have to take his place. Hopefully not anytime soon because we love DK. Back to the controversy. So there's definitely some controversy regarding barn cats. Some people are vastly uncomfortable with the idea of outdoor cats at all. They just don't like it. Okay? And I get it. We've all seen the headlines. Cats kill billions of birds every year. Outdoor cats are bad for the environment. And in some settings, that's a valid concern, and that absolutely is something that happens. Okay? Too many cats in one area, not enough rodents to hunt. They're going to start going after the birds. There's no way to stop that. If the birds are harder to catch than mice and rats, can't talk. But they'll go after the mice and the rats if they're available. If they're not available, yeah, you bet they're going to go after the birds. But what's missing from this conversation is some context. Okay? Oh my goodness, this is one of our little cream ones. This one is less than 4 weeks old. Okay? We're only a few weeks old here. So this is a teeny one. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. So, the context. Our barn cats are not free-roaming neighborhood pests, okay? They're part of a contained working ecosystem. They aren't wandering miles across suburban backyards. They stay in and around the barnyard, the outbuilding, and the livestock areas. And yes, we know they don't roam because we're out here all the time, and so are cats. They're fixed when necessary. So we do have kittens, obviously, who go to farm homes. If we don't want a particular cat to have kittens, we get it fixed. We don't just go, meh. We have a plan for babies. They are all vaccinated. They are well fed. They are monitored. And they fill a role that nothing else can, especially in terms of constant rodent control. We would have to resort to poisons that could harm our animals or the environment more than these cats ever could. And I really don't want to do that. Okay? I really, really don't want to do that. Okay? I love, first of all, I love cats. Yes, let's be honest about that. I love cats. I love kittens. But beyond that, they are serving a valid purpose. But it's a balancing act, just like everything on a hobby farm or a homestead is. Never mind that one. Wildfire does not want to come. Rowan is bringing me Wildfire, and she says no. You can't control cats. That's something you should know about barn cats. You can't control them. So now let's talk about how we actually care for our barn cats, because there is care involved. You don't just stick them in your barn, shrug your shoulders, and ignore them. Okay? They aren't just tossed aside and forgotten. They are working members of your farm, and they're members of your family. So let's remember that a little bit. Okay? Let's remember that a little bit. We're going to switch, and I'm going to grab Wildfire. She was last year's favorite kitten, and we couldn't give her up. She's our baby. We love Wildfire. Yes, we do. We love Wildfire. I'm going to move the mic higher so I stop squishing it with cats. This is Wildfire. She's our kitten that we kept from 2024. She was born early in the year, and she is a fantastic girl and our only long-haired cat. But we love her. There's just some grooming involved, and if you miss the grooming window, you got to shave her down. But she is a fantastic cat, a beautiful calico, and she wants to go. So we're going to let her go. That was Wildfire. So caring for our cats. They're our family, okay? Our cats are spayed or neutered if we don't want babies out of them. And when I say that, I mean we've made an active decision. We want a kitten out of this cat. Often to keep for ourselves. There's ducks behind me. Often to keep for ourselves, but sometimes for other people as well. They are vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Okay, they get everything our vet recommends, they get, because they are members of our family. We don't want them sick. They get treated for parasites, including fleas and worms. We've never had fleas on the farm in any of our species. Worms are a normal thing on the farm, and it's important to deworm. So our cats are dewormed when necessary. They're not over-medicated. They are medicated when required. And they always, hi, sweetheart. Oh, this is my little purr monster. No, this is baby Bowser. But these kittens and their mamas and their papa have access to fresh water and feed all the time. They have a high quality cat food available to them. They do not have to just hunt for there's a fly. I don't like flies. Hi. I know, you're such a beautiful girl. But they don't have to hunt for their dinner if they don't need to. And it is important you feed your barn cats. That's one of the things you absolutely have to do. They have to be fed. They can't subsist on mice and rats. And feeding them close to home every day makes sure they don't roam too far. So multi-pronged purpose there. Keeps them home, keeps them fed. Okay? They can't starve. Don't starve your cats. We also provide shelter. Okay? They have so many places they can be. They can be in the garage. They can be in the barn behind me. They can be in the shed. They can be in the gazebo. They can even come in the house, especially if it's 40 below, because it gets very cold here. They can come in the house. So we provide them shelter, make sure they have protected areas. And for the cats that will not come in the house, like Bowser, it's important that we provide her with a heat pad when it's 40 below, because it's dang cold. She won't come in the house. Bowser's not a house cat. Some people worry that feeding barn cats will make them lazy hunters. Okay? That's a myth. That's a complete myth. A well-fed cat is a better hunter because they're healthy, they're energized, and they are not starving. This one is Jake. She doesn't want to stay either, but this is also, like DK, not a super young cat, and we adore her, and though we're not keeping a baby from her this year, we are keeping a baby from her next year. Hi, DK. DK's back. He likes being near people, he just doesn't want me to pick him up. So, but the cats hunt better when they're fed because they're healthy and energized, they're not starving. They hunt because it's instinctive, not out of desperation. So feed your barn cats. I know far too many people who get a barn cat, shove it in their barn, and then expect it to hunt for them. Well, it's not gonna. Okay? It's going to wander off and find a better place to live. You know the whole cat distribution system thing? Works with barn cats. And they don't want to stay, they're not gonna. You got to give them a reason to stay. So put out good food, give them some affection, make sure that they are incredibly attached to you and your property so they don't wander off. We don't want them to wander off. I'm getting notifications on both phones. It's fun. So, what about, does breed matter? Their temperament, training? So, are barn cats even a specific breed? No, they're not a specific breed. Maybe they should be. Maybe we should specifically breed for barn cats because the temperament and the skills are inherited traits. But most barn cats are what we would call mixed breed domestic shorthairs, sometimes called muggies. Have a long hair as well, but most barn cats are short hairs. Most people don't want a long hair cat as a pet, mostly because of the grooming. Okay, most people don't want to do the grooming, which I understand. Wildfire is a bit of a drama queen. So, yeah. Now, sometimes you'll see certain breeds turn up in barn cat mixes more often than others, like Siamese, Maine Coon, or even Oriental Shorthair. And yes, that can influence temperament. The breed they are can influence their temperament. But more important than the breed is the traits of the cat itself and what traits it's going to pass down to its offspring. The most important traits aren't about pedigree. Very good barn cat, like DK, like Gwen, they're alert, they're independent, confident, and they're calm around the livestock, so they're not constantly going after all your guys, okay? So cats can be trained, and barn cats can be not necessarily trained well, but acclimated well. Okay, they learn about the boundaries of their territory through repetition. So when our barn cats are young, the ones we're keeping, we walk them around the property. They walk with you. Especially when they're young, they want to be with you. A cat that's bonded to you can learn where you want them to stay. Okay, they learn about the boundaries of their territory. They learn from watching older cats. So my recommendation is always younger cats with older cats, so the older cats can be the teachers. They even learn routines, like when it's feeding time, so they know when Rowan feeds the rabbits, it's feeding time for them. Hi, Gwendolyn. This is my favorite cat. So it's no surprise that I have several of her children. I love this cat. This is Gwen. She is my girl who was quite feral when we found her, but she's not feral now. And I want all her children, and I never want to give them up because I love Gwen the most of all the kids in the whole world. I love you. Okay, fine. She doesn't love me as much as I love her, I'll be honest. But cats can learn. They're very smart, and they can be trained if you're willing to do that. They generally don't need training to be barn cats, though. Their instincts take over. What you are going to have to do is work at establishing a relationship with your barn cats. If you want them to stay, they have to like you. If they don't like you, well, cats are cats. Many years ago, and it's not that long ago, I had a cat who just decided she liked my neighbor more. What are you going to do? She just moved in with my neighbor. She's like, screw you, I don't like you anymore. Okay. She liked my neighbor, and she lived out the rest of her life with my neighbor, and that was just the way it was. Cats, especially outdoor cats, you're going to have very little control. Okay? You're going to have almost none. So understand that if you don't have a bond, thank you, Spark. If you do not have a bond with your barn cats, what's basically going to happen is they're just going to vamoose. They're going to take off. They will not care. Hello, little one. This is a gray and white. He's 6 weeks old. Oh, you are such a nice boy. And yes, this is a little boy. And he is fantastically snuggleable. Aww. But yes, if you want your cats to stay home, they gotta love you. This is one of Jake's children. And Jake makes beautiful babies. We have not kept a Jake baby yet. She is going to have one more litter before getting spayed, so we're going to keep a Jake baby out of that litter because the 3 babies she had this year were spoken for before they were born. So next year, I'm going to have to be one of the spoken for people. I'm going to have to say, one of these kittens is reserved for me. Because it's definitely one of those things. So, yeah. Anyway, barn cats need to like you to stay where you are, okay? Make sure you spend some time forging that bond. So I'm going to hit the Q&A portion because I have the questions in front of me. So these are real questions I've gotten over time, especially in the last week. Things people are commonly curious about, but these mostly come from people messaging me on Facebook. So if you want to ask a question and you're watching this as a replay, you can either drop a question in the comments. You can find me on Facebook. You can put a comment in any YouTube video. I do check. Even if I don't respond, I check them. Switching cats. This is Bowser. Well, sorry. Bowser is a handful. Hi. This is one of Ben's children, and I love Bowser, but she don't like me, but she's a handful. Yes, you're a good girl. I know, you're such a good girl. I tend to tick on you. Yeah. It's the other thing you got to do is you got to check for ticks. She had a little tick on the side of her face. Cats don't get very many ticks. When they're going to get ticks, it's probably going to be on the face, because that's where the hair is thinner. So, yeah. Anyway, Q&A. If you have a question that you want to drop in, Facebook is probably the best place because I get those messages directly. I don't have to check anything. But these are questions people asked when they realized I was going to be talking about barn cats. So, first question from Kaya. Do you feed your barn cats even though they hunt? Yes. Every day, twice a day, they get fed. Their feeder gets topped up. No matter what time of year, no matter what the weather, they are getting a full feeder twice a day. Or at least we're topping it up twice a day. They need food. I know far too many people who do not feed their barn cats because they're like, well, they'll just hunt. No, they won't. Unless you have so many critters that they can sustain themselves for years, you're not going to be able to do that. So you need to feed your cats, okay? Make sure they have feeders full. Make sure they have access to water. This is part of your job as someone who owns cats. Whether they're indoor or outdoor cats, they still need food. How do you make sure they get enough water in the winter? We change out the water 4 times a day. We have rubber feed pans, and this goes for actually all the animals. We have rubber feed pans, so when the water freezes, we can turn the containers upside down, stomp on them, lift them back up, and fill them with new water, because the rubber feed pans, as soon as you stomp on them, release the ice, and you can just fill them with new water, and we do that 4 times a day. Water is essential for your barn cats, even in the winter, okay? Are barn cats safe around chickens and ducks? Yes, with a caveat. First of all, don't put a adult cat with baby chicks. It's a recipe for disaster. Don't do it. However, if you raise your cat from kittenhood around your poultry, so around your chickens and your ducks and your turkeys, they will be fine with older birds. They will not be fine with chicks. Chicks are yummy little chicken nuggets. Don't leave them alone with chicks. They shouldn't be in your brooder anyway. Don't put the cat in your brooder. That's ridiculous. Instead, what you're going to want to do is make sure your cats don't have access to your brooder, and when the chickens are old enough and big enough, you can put them out with the cats. If the cats have been raised around birds of a juvenile size, then absolutely, you're fine. Because obviously we have free-ranging birds behind us, and the cats are, I've got DK down here, Jake and Bowser are over there. So everyone is around doing their thing, and that's what we want. Do barn cats really catch a lot of mice? Ours do. And when we first moved to this location, so we had a previous location before. When we first moved to this location, the previous people did not have cats, and there were so many rodents. Okay? So many rodents. We absolutely required the cats to get those rodents under control. Those animals, those cats were busy. What are you doing? Sure, there's a duck making weird noises behind me. It's very distracting. But yeah, the cats had a big job to do when we first moved here. It was pure insanity. Okay, pure insanity. So yes. There, I'm just remembering back to dead mice all over the lawn because the cats were just like, okay, we're trying to get this under control, mama. And it was tough for them. And so we had to keep 3 kittens that year. I usually only keep like 1 every second year, but we had to keep 3 because it turns out here there are more mice and rats than there were at our old location. We're like, okay, we're going to have to keep a bunch because we do not have enough cats for this kind of rodent control. Ducks, man. Are they aggressive to other animals on the farm? Ours never have been. Okay, sometimes they get into spats with each other. Like Jake and Bowser can have a little issue with each other. Sometimes they're annoyed by each other, which I understand. Jake is particularly annoying. I love her, but she's annoying. So they can get into spats amongst each other. They never have a problem with the other animals. They hang out with the chickens and the quail and the everything, and it's a non-issue. How do you tell if a cat will make a good barn cat? It's hard to tell at first. I prefer maximize your chances by getting a kitten from a farm. Okay. Yes, you could try a rescue. Rescues here won't adopt outdoor cats. They won't. If you're going to let your cat outside, they won't let you adopt a cat. But that's an option for some people. However, my biggest recommendation is find a farm where the parents are already barn cats. The kittens will learn from mom and dad. So see if you can find a farmer who has kittens. Okay. Several farmers do. Well, I'm going to say it's not as common as it used to be, but if you look hard enough, you'll find a farmer who has kittens. Check your local classifieds, whatever online classifieds you have. See if somebody has a litter of kittens. And just put the word out. Say you're looking for a barn cat and you'd really prefer a cat born to barn cats. We do have better success with being a barn cat if they are from barn cats because they get that early exposure and it matters. Are they friendly or more feral? They're friendly. Bowser's really annoyed at me because I dared to pick her up. I don't like being picked up, and neither does DK. But they're friendly. They'll sit beside you and scratch them. There's just a couple of them don't like being picked up. Okay, especially Bowser. Bowser's like, don't touch me. She just wants to be nicely pet, not handled. But ours are very friendly, and I think it is important that they're friendly, especially if you have kids, because try telling a 4-year-old they can't pet the kitty. Not going to happen. So it is pretty important that you make sure that your barn cats are quite friendly. From Melissa, do barn cats like to be petted? Ours do. If you pay a lot of attention to them when they're young, they will want that attention growing up, and then they will want that attention as adults. They are not that different from house cats. They're pretty much identical, except they're doing a job. So you treat them well, and they'll treat you well, and they'll want your affection. They'll pretend they don't. They'll pretend they're just accidentally sitting beside you. I'm accidentally sitting here, and if you happen to accidentally pet me, that would be fantastic. Because that's the way they are. But yes, they do like to be pet. Can you litter train a barn cat? Yep. Our cats can eat. Hi, DK. Hi, DK, man. But our barn cats can easily come inside. We have litter boxes up on the first floor, and we have litter boxes in the basement, and they have no trouble using them. Cats litter train by instinct. So most barn cats will be completely fine using a litter box. How old should a kitten be before it becomes a barn cat? Ideally, right away. Ideally, they were born to a barn cat family. If you're getting a cat that is not born to barn cats, I wouldn't put them out before 8 weeks, and then you have to contain them. Even if wherever you get your kitten from, know that you have to contain them for a couple of weeks. They're not going to know where home is yet. Okay, because what's going to happen is you're going to take them home. They're not going to know who you are. They're not going to know who all these weird chickens are, and they're going to take off. Cats are very, very quick. You're not going to catch them. So make sure. Why are we squeaking for no good reason? There's a duck squeaking at me. But make sure you contain them. Put them in a tack room or a locked shed or somewhere where they can't get out. Give them food, water, and a litter box. and pay lots of attention to them. You're not ignoring them. You're just keeping them contained. You can even do it in your house. I prefer to do it in my house because then they also know how to be in the house for a couple weeks, and then let them outside. Let them go do their job. If they are bonded to you and they know where home is, they won't stray too far. What vaccines do your barn cats get? All of them. Hi, Tequila. Hi, I'm Bear. There's one of my dogs. She has puppies right now. Was she needy?
I wouldn't want to go outside.
Did you really want me?
I'm going to take them one at a time because they're very riled up.
Yeah. They are riled up. Are you riled up? We'll go hunt a raccoon or something. I don't know. Are you going to do what I just said? She's like, I'm going to go do something. So Tequila's making an appearance. He's very loud. That's our turkey. He's loud as heck. And a bunch of chickens are coming out of the bush. Yeah. All right. All right. Everyone likes to be loud. Loud as they can. There goes Tequila. And no, the dogs are not a threat to the cats. So what vaccines do your barn cats get? All of them. Okay. If my vet, we have a farm vet who comes out and we do what's called the barn cat combo. That's what he calls it. And it's all the shots a barn cat could possibly need. So few reasons for that. First of all, they are outside all the time. They are exposed to literally everything. If it exists in your area, your cats are exposed to it. Okay. Second, they are members of our family and they are members of our farm. If my dogs and my horse are vaccinated, then my cats should be as well. Please don't treat them as less just because they're cats. They still have a place on your farm. How do you deal with fleas and ticks? I have never had fleas. But ticks, we get a lot of ticks here. Luckily, we don't get too many on the cats. We don't even get too many on us. The chickens do a pretty good job of keeping us tick-free in the main yard. You're more likely to get them if you go in the bush. But we deal with ticks by searching the cats. The cats rarely have ticks. Like I found one on Bowser, and that was literally it. Nobody else had a tick. And it was just a small tick, and I just grabbed it and plucked it. So we check the cats for ticks once in a while. Usually it's going to be on the head or face if a cat does get a tick, because that's where their fur is not as thick. Ticks don't have as easy a time latching on to a cat as they do a dog. So Whiskey's about to come. It's Whiskey's turn. Hi, Whiskey. Whiskey. Yes, I know. You're a good dog. I love you very much. And here comes Vodka. Oh no, Vodka found me. Don't knock the camera over. Don't knock the camera over. Vodka's huge and klutzy. So when Vodka comes a-running, you stop the camera from falling. Don't pee on the cat. Are you okay, Bowser? Almost by Vodka. Don't pee on the cat. She just happened to be under the coop he peed on. And she had to run very fast. Oh dear. There's always chaos. When you have a hobby farm, there's some kind of chaos happening behind you or your window. It's just what's. All right. So ticks, we just pick them off. So check your cats for ticks. Check their head especially. Meow. Oh, that's Jake. Hi. Yes, I see you, honey. You're a very nice cat. So yes, you want to check, but cats don't get nearly as many ticks as dogs. Where do your barn cats sleep in the winter? As long as it's not freaking cold, they're usually in the garage. There's usually a couple in the barn and a couple in the garage. It depends. I like having them in the garage because it's where the hay is, and I really don't want mice in the hay. But a couple in the barn is always a good idea. It helps just deter anything from being there. Do you ever bring them inside if it's really cold? They are allowed access to the house if they need it. They generally don't want to. Even Jake, who thinks it's funny to get into the house, she then runs outside right away. Like, it's like she thinks it's a challenge to get in the house. I don't know why, because it's not like she was born in the house. I don't know what her problem is. She's weird. But we love her, but she's weird. But she thinks it's like this challenge to get in the house. So then she runs into the house, stops in the foyer, like, that was good, and turns around and runs back outside. They can come in the house. If it's 40 below, we are not going to make them sit outside in the snow. Okay, we make sure they are warm enough. Bowser does not ever come in. Okay, she doesn't ever. It's not going to happen. She is not going to come in. She doesn't like it. But the other cats occasionally. How do you keep track of how many cats you have? Easily. So we have, for the adult cats, because most of the kittens are going elsewhere, but we have Jake behind me, who loves vodka, so she's going to cuddle him. We have Bowser, who's over here. We have DK, who was over there, and I don't know where he went, but we have DK. And then we have Gwen, who I adore, by the way. Gwen is my girl. And we have Wildfire for barn cats. We have the 5. I want to keep one more, but I'm going to wait till next year and keep one of Jake's kittens. Maybe one of Wildfire's, but I want one more because of the amount of acreage we have. I just want one more, just to keep the mice under control. And I've got Vodka here beside me because he's such a good boy. Yeah, Vod, are you a good boy? Vodka's a good boy. Yeah, and you're a good cat. Yeah. We've got Vodka and Jake over here. Bowser's laying on the path. I don't know why. Hi, Vod. Just my Vod. That's my Vod, man. You gonna go for a walk? Vodka, you gonna go for a walk with Rowan? He's like, probably not, but okay. Whiskey's like, I will go. That's Rowan's over here, making a bunch of noise with Blue. The turkey's literally right in front of me and is being very loud. Just call him. Okay, I don't remember where I was. Do you name your barn cats? Each and every one. Yes. Chelsea wanted to know if I name them. All the time. I don't want to have so many cats that I don't know what their names are. That would be too many cats. So, yes. Do they fight with each other? Not generally. Occasionally, Jake and Bowser will be annoyed with each other, but they don't like fight. No one's ever had a real injury because why would they? Hi, Jake, honey. Jake's under my chair now. So, no, not generally. Have you ever had issues with diseases like FIV? No. There are a couple of diseases that cats can get. We've never had one. So, no, luckily. Nobody has. None of the kittens that I've ever rehomed, no one's ever told me that they have anything. So, no, I don't think we've ever had a problem. Not unless it happened when I was a kid. Yeah, so, no, we haven't had a problem with any of those really devastating infectious diseases for cats. Do you microchip them? I do not. They do get tattoos in their ears, but I do not microchip the cats. It's really expensive here to microchip a cat, and our cats literally don't go anywhere. At any given time, you can find all the cats. So all the adult cats we have, you saw on the stream, we were rotating through them. They are really easy to find. Bowser's right there, okay? Bowser's going because Rowan is going to the house and Bowser wants a snack. But Jake is right here. Gwen and Wildfire under the step. And I'm not exactly sure where DK went, but he's around. There's no point in microchipping them if I'm not worried that they might leave. So no, our cats are not microchipped. They are fully vaccinated. They are fully vetted. They are not microchipped. How do you introduce a new cat into the group? That is going to depend on your group. So our group is pretty accepting. You go, hey, here's a new cat. Boom. And our cats are really good. In most cases, I would say that if you're introducing a new barn cat into your established group of barn cats, have a closed door between them and let them smell each other through the door. And then let them spend short amounts of time together after they've gotten to know each other through the door for a couple of weeks. Because cats who don't know each other and are very territorial will beat each other up and they can hurt each other. So if you are introducing a new barn cat into an established barn cat group, please be gentle and be patient and be calm about it. Are your barn cats shy around people? Bowser is. Hi, Blue. Bowser is. She doesn't love new people, especially. Gwen and DK and Jake want everyone to pet them. Wildfire only wants us to pet her. So it depends on the people. Some of our barn cats are really very social. Others would prefer family only. Do they get along with the livestock guardian dogs? Yes. They were all pretty much raised together. Some of the cats are older than the dogs, but they all get along just fine. The dogs were raised with the cats, so they just view them as another thing to protect. So they all get along just fine. The way to do that is to raise your livestock guardian dogs when they're puppies with cats. Okay, so they don't ever think that cats are some kind of weird intruder that they have to defend the property from. Because remember, livestock guardian dogs will defend, right? So make absolutely sure they are familiar with each other. Will they kill baby chicks or ducklings? Yep. If you let your barn cats into your brooder with your baby chicks or your baby ducklings, yep, the ducklings and the chicks will not fare very well. So definitely keep them out of your brooders. When the birds are big enough to come out of the brooder, generally they're too big for well-socialized barn cats to worry about. But at beginning, when they are little tiny chicken nuggets, you bet they will go after. How do they act when new animals arrive? They hide. They would rather wait until that new animal is settled in before they meet it and get settled themselves. So if you are getting new animals, expect your barn cats to be a little bit shy at first, because cats don't like new things, and barn cats especially don't like new things. So when you bring in a new animal, it might take a little while for your barn cat to get used to it. Do they ever wander off and not come back? I haven't had that happen. I know people have, and there's nothing you can do about it. So cats are a little freewheeling anyway, and every once in a while you'll have a cat that's just not going to stick around. And it's a shame, especially if you went and fell in love with them. But these are cats that are outside. You can't actually stop them from leaving. I have trouble getting ours off the deck sometimes, because right now there's 3 of them sitting on the deck for some reason. I think they're waiting for a snack from Rowan. So, and there's one on the front step. Okay, so we have 4 cats accounted for in one. Oh, 5. DK's there too. Okay, they're all over there waiting for a snack. So ours don't wander off, but I know that it's a common thing with barn cats. So if you get a barn cat, and even if you do everything right and you keep him contained for a couple weeks so he gets used to everything, and you feed him every day, even if you do all of that and you do all of the things right, basically you can't control if they just decide to up and leave. They are cats. Ultimately, they're cats, right? They're not dogs, they're cats. They are harder to keep control of because they're cats. Can cats be trained not to go into certain areas? In theory, yes. In practicality, they'll wait till you're not looking. So think about it like we all have a friend who swears her cat never goes on her counter. They do. They just wait till you're gone. They know being on the counter annoys you. Therefore, they wait till you've gone home, or you've gone to work, or you've gone to bed. Whatever the situation is, they wait till you're not looking. And they only do it when you're not there or when you're not looking at them. It's the same with thinking your barn cat doesn't go into certain areas. Just because you think you've trained the barn cat not to go in a certain area, thank you, Sauron, doesn't mean that they don't, okay? Essentially, what you're training your cat to do is don't go in that area when I'm around. They're cats, man. There is a limit to what you can train a cat to do, and cats are pretty dang smart. Are male or female cats better for barns? People are of 2 minds on this. My best mousers are females. Why then do most people want males? They're cheaper to fix, okay? And if you don't have a million kittens, you're not prepared to rehome those kittens, you don't have homes lined up, and you're not prepared to keep them yourself, you probably want to fix a cat. So most people want to get a boy simply because the boys are cheaper to fix. I like the girls because in my experience, Everyone's experience will be a little different. But in my experience, the girls are better mousers. You would be hard pressed to find a girl as good as Gwen or Bowser at hunting. Okay? DK is fine, but Bowser and Gwen are excellent. Jake is special. Jake is special, and she's a girl. Jake is a girl. I know her name is weird. Do they bring you gifts like dead mice? All the time. If you have barn cats and they like you a little bit, expect every once in a while or every morning that you will come out and go, "Thanks for the rat. I love it. I appreciate it. I'm going to get rid of it now." It's a cat thing. Do you have any barn a specific animal? Yes, we have barn cats that adore vodka. We have the Great Pyrenees, the livestock guardian dog. We have a barn cat that adores Shadowfax, the mini horse. We have a barn cat that thinks whiskey, the golden doodle, is the bee's knees. I know that makes me old to say that. Shush. Every time I say that, somebody goes, that's an old expression. Well, bee's knees is what my grandma used to say, so I say it. But yeah, they bond to animals that aren't cats. We have them bond to the dogs and the horse and the goat. And one of the cats really likes the rabbits, so they can absolutely bond to animals that are not cats. Switch. How do you stop them from getting into grain bags? Just close them. The cats are not that interested in the grain bags. We have containers, but we half the time forget to put the feed in them. I have ADHD. Putting feed in the container is kind of like folding the laundry after you've dried it. It's very difficult for that to happen. So most of the time I just have feed in feed bags, and I literally just close the tops. The cats are not interested in the feed. I know some people are worried the cats will use the feed as a litter box. They generally don't if you close the top of the bag. They're not going to fight that hard to get into the grain. Can a city cat become a barn cat? Maybe. It's not always successful. Sometimes a city cat just can't become a country cat. It's like that with people or with dogs. Or some people can do the country thing and some can't. So some cats can do the country thing and some need to be city cats. That's fine if they can't do a barn cat thing. Just keep them in the house. It's not a big deal. How many cats do you need for a small hobby farm? That very much depends on where you live. So where we live, there's a lot of rodents, okay? Like a lot. We have a lot of rodents here. It's a very problem. So we need a fair number of cats, where we need less. So here, I think you should have 1 cat per acre plus 1, which sounds like a lot, but it means if you have a 2-acre hobby farm, then you have 3 cats, which is 3 barn cats, which is not that big a deal. If you have a 100-acre, you might want to reevaluate how many cats you have. You don't want that many cats. You do not want 101 cats. But on a small hobby farm, depending on how many acres you need to keep free of mice, yeah, we need a cat an acre because there are a lot of rodents here. Do barn cats live shorter lives than indoor cats? Statistically, yes. Okay, so the statistics tell you absolutely. In my experience, no, unless they get hit by a car. But we live in the middle of nowhere, and the biggest traffic is when my very far away neighbor's mother goes to church. So we don't have that much in the way of traffic. So in my experience, we have our barn cats to a ripe old age, and then they become indoor cats. So Magic in the house is nearly 20 years old. He was an outdoor cat at one point. He is nearly 20 years old. He's not going to be an outdoor cat anymore. So when he started slowing down, Arwen, what kind of nonsense are you up to? There's a goat being insane. What are you up to? There's a goat. Goat's always up to something. So there's the goat. Anyway. Sometimes there's a goat. But do they live shorter lives? Not in my experience. I have had very old barn cats, and I've had house cats that only lived to 10 or 12 because they got sick. And I have a cat that when he slowed down, he's now a house cat, and he's still alive at nearly 20 years old. So it kind of depends on how well you look after them, how you keep track of them. So we pay a lot of attention to our cats. We know where they are every day. There's not a single day where I do. So it kind of depends on, one, how you treat them, two, what kind of hazards are in your area. Are they likely to get snatched by a coyote? We have the livestock guardian dogs. The chances of them being snatched by a coyote are pretty low. Do you live on a major road? Because that could happen as well. What happens if a cat stops hunting? If a cat that has been hunting suddenly stops hunting, you're going to want to take them to the vet, because a change in behavior, regardless of what that change in behavior is, means something is wrong. It could be medical, it could be psychological, but there's something wrong. Cats, or even people, don't randomly change their behaviors. There's a reason. So if you can't figure out why something is happening, trip to the vet is in order. Have you had a favorite barn cat? My current favorite barn cat is Gwen, the black and white female. I adore her. There goes DK now. But I adore her. She is my girl. She is my little buddy. And close second is Wildfire, her daughter. And third is Bowser, her other daughter. I have a thing for Gwen and Gwen's kittens. So I do have a thing for them. Gwen is an absolute doll of a cat, and I love her. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen a barn cat do? Jake routinely gets stuck on the roof and thinks she should fall down the chimney to get back in. She's special. Jake is special, okay? And his girl. Jake is a girl. So she'll go onto the roof because she can get up on the roof, and then she'll forget that she knows how to get off the roof, and she'll climb onto the chimney and attempt to go down the chimney. There's a cap. She can't, but she'll try. So sometimes we have to send someone up on the roof to get the cat, even though she can get off herself. She's special. Do cats ever scare off larger pests like snakes? Okay, so we don't really have very many snakes. We have garter snakes, and that's literally it. Okay, we have little garter snakes, and we're not even in the areas where we would get very many garter snakes. So we don't have to worry about that. They do not like opossums. They don't like opossums. They will drive the opossums off. And they don't love raccoons. Like, they could probably coexist with a raccoon if they had to, but they would rather the raccoons go away. And since the livestock guardian dogs also don't like raccoons, we don't have a raccoon problem. Would you ever run a barn cat rescue or adoption program? So what I do, which is why sometimes you'll see a mama that you didn't see before, I will take in a pregnant cat. I will put her with my barn cats. She will have her kittens, and the kittens will be raised amongst the barn cats. Get mama fixed and rehome mama, usually to a pet home if she came from a pet home, and then rehome the kittens to barn homes. I will do that. Thank you. But on a larger scale, no, I'm not interested in that. I adore rescuing, and I really admire people who can do it. It's not the animals in rescue, it's the people. So would I ever run a barn cat rescue? No. I do have a small, I'll take in a cat here and there. They'll have babies, and I will rehome the babies to barn homes. I specifically focus on barn homes. We do not have enough barn cats in my area. Everyone needs a barn cat. So I focus on barn homes. But large scale, I'm not interested in running a rescue. Okay, I think that covers my questions that I had pre-submitted. And I have to wrap up because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I actually am quite busy Friday nights. So I don't have a ton of time. I've tried to figure out if I can move the stream back, guys. I get so many comments. If it was 2 hours later, you'd be able to show up. If it was 4 hours later, but I can't do it then. And also where I live, if I move it 4 hours, we would be streaming in the dark come September. So, hi. I've got a cat growling at a dog. That's a turkey, not a cat. There's a turkey growling at me. Hi, Arwen, baby. Yeah, that's a sweetie. So, barn cats may not be the first animal people think of when they picture farm life, but they have earned their place on the farm, okay? Treat them with a little respect. They're agile, smart, independent, and incredibly valuable. Whether you, hi, this is goat. This is my goat. Hi, sweetie. Here's my goat. Oh, lift your head up so people can see you exist. This is my goat. But whether you've got a whole herd of goats, a flock of ducks, or a single garden shed that needs defending, a good barn cat can be one of the best helpers you'll get on the homestead. Okay, they are worth the time. They are worth the search to find a good one. And I definitely recommend getting a kitten and raising it on your farm. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres, because I do have to go. I have other things that I need to do. Drop a comment below if you've got a barn cat of your own, or if you have a question for a future live stream. I promise I see the questions, even if I don't reply. You can also find me on Facebook. I will gather up questions from there as well. I am on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but don't message me on TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I'm there because there's people there, and it's a way to connect with people, and I like connecting with people. It's not, I don't like TikTok. Sorry, but I don't. So find me on YouTube primarily, a little bit on Facebook, and a very little bit on Instagram. Otherwise, don't find me on TikTok. I don't like it. Anyway, I gotta go. I have stuff to do, but I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna go out by rotating the camera and taking a look at some of these critters, because they are amazing critters. I love them very much. And oh goodness, Blue's gonna have to break it up if you guys don't stop. All right, we're gonna go.